series on becoming a medical missionary, self-development. Last week we touched a little on time for meals, right? We say that we are supposed to be developing regularity, all right? So we're lingering a little on the topic of time for meals. How often should we be eating? 3 what? 3 times per day? 2 times per day? Any other answer? What is the most important meal of the day? The breakfast. Why? Why is breakfast the most important meal of the day?
Because you've been fasting for a while, like the entire night, so you're gonna need to break that fast so that you can have the necessary energy needed for the day's work.
Amen. So should you then be eating a meager breakfast?
A meal?
A meager, a stingy breakfast?
No. It's okay. So the earlier the day, the heavier the meal, and the later the day, the lighter the meal. Why? Because in
the body will be in a better state to deal with a heavy meal in the morning after receiving such a long rest.
Yes.
All right. So regularity in eating should be carefully observed. Eating destroy the healthful tone of the digestive organs to the detriment of health and cheerfulness. Counsels to the Church, page 223. 5 hours at least should elapse between each meal. And there's another quotation that says 5 to 7 hours. It would depend on what you would have eaten. Eat at a wish to lavish upon you many kinds of food to your digestive organs. When you are invited out to a meal, shun the menu
August 1, 1875. It's a pretty good counsel, but a part of it says that one of the strongest temptations to man is upon between the mind and the body. There's a mysterious and wonderful relation. And I'm going to skip on down to the last paragraph, which says, the controlling power of appetite will prove the ruin of thousands when, if they had conquered on this point, they would have moral power to gain the victory over every other temptation of Satan, but slaves to appetite will fail in perfecting Christian character. The continual transgression of man for 6,000 years has brought sickness, pain, and death as its fruits.
Thank you for that additional reading. Right, so we have to understand that this when it comes to eating and drinking, it's a moral matter. It's not just about putting in food into our bodies, but it affects us in every way. All right? And there is also another quotation where she says that we can practice health reform at the table. So when you go out or in the presence of your family members or your friends, when you only take certain foods and certain amounts, when everybody is at the buffet table and they have a piece of every food, when you only take the food that combines well and limited variety of such food, then you will be preaching to them, you will be sharing with them the health message even without saying anything. And then when they ask you, why are you not eating this? Or why are you only eating that amount? Or why are you not eating and drinking at the same time? Why are you not doing this and that? You will get the opportunity to share what God has given you. So we have some examples. Jesus ate breakfast and supper. We have that example in John 21 and John chapter 12. Others ate and were filled and satisfied. The council says that we should not eat, and we should not overeat. We should eat just enough, the amount that natures require, right? And Jesus encouraged us to eat in a way that glorifies him. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. So some tips on improving how we eat and drink. Set a time that is most convenient for each meal where you can eat without hurry and with a calm mind. Right? She said if we have no time to eat, it's best not to eat or to eat less. Right? And the mindset in which we eat, if we're angry when we eat, then that causes distress on the digestive organs.
So I was saying, if when you're eating, can you eat it early on your eating time? Can you eat it early?
You mean early in the morning? You mean early in the morning?
I mean early as like after your bed.
After, yes. Yes, you can choose the time that is best for you to eat.
The statement where it says we eat without hurry and in a calm mind, this is true. Well, I've experienced this because usually when I'm eating, I'll be watching some program, learning something, but I realized that because of that, I tend to have constipation, and I learned why. It's because when you are learning, you're releasing a chemical called dopamine, and dopamine slows down gut mobility, so it slows everything down. So when you're eating, you want to have no distractions and just eat calmly, so your system goes freely, and then you go back to that afterwards.
Right, and it goes back to what Brother Nick just read, that the mind and the body works in unison. So when we are eating, the brain is working in cooperation with the digestive system. But when we divert the mind to something else, then it's harder for the digestive system to process all of that food. And I believe I read where she mentioned about 1 hour after before we engage in hard labor or mental work or study or of that sort, right? And that's why we should practice to take our digestive walk after eating, right after eating, and that will help to encourage proper digestion, right? And it will set our minds on nature as well and on God. All right, so select a time that is best for you to eat your breakfast. What time in the morning is it best for you to eat your breakfast? And you're going to figure out that time, and you're going to try and stick with that time every day. All right? Said with your lunchtime, you're going to set a time, and if you take supper, you're going to also set a time. And the time for supper, it should be way before bedtime so that the meal can be digested before it's time for you to sleep.
Normally, my time for breakfast would be like...
Cannot hear you.
Normally, the time that I eat breakfast is normally 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock every morning? Right. And as I say, it comes back around mind will be expecting breakfast 8, and then the digestive set aside a time for eating. Quickly.
At time you can eat your lunch, your breakfast, you can eat it usually 7 o'clock at like 6, or if you want to do it earlier, you can do it like...
Figure out the best time for you. All right? All right, stick to meal times, eating no more than half hour before or after schedule. So if you set the time for that your lunch, you're going to eat breakfast 8 every morning. If for whatever reason it does not happen, the latest you should be eating it is 8:30. So between that time. All right? Eat it any later than the half an hour period, it throws everything out of order and everything will be out. All right? Plan your meals beforehand. So if you know for breakfast you want some red pea stew, you can't get up in the morning and cook that red peas because red peas don't cook quickly. As a matter of fact, we shouldn't be cooking the peas. We shouldn't be pressuring the things, They should be cooked over a steady heat, slowly. That way the enzymes that causes trouble in the gut, and so they are properly released and dealt with than when we quickly pressure them and get out everything. All right, so prepare beforehand. Plan what you're going to cook tomorrow. Or some persons plan it for the week. Right? Even when we are going to prepare Sabbath meals, don't wait until Friday morning you're running up and down saying this is what you're going to do, and then you realize that you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have the things that you need, and so it takes up a lot of your time and things. All right? Half your plate should be fruits or vegetables. A portion of it should be your carbohydrates, and another portion should be your protein and your little fats on the side sparingly. All right, so we want to. It's the habit of us. It's a habit of ours to have just a toots of vegetable. All right, and the vegetables are what helps to repair our body. So we need and to build. So we need more vegetables. All right. So let us increase our vegetable intakes. Learn simple, healthy recipes. Forget about the complicated recipes or the one that calls for ingredients that you can hardly afford, or the ones that takes hours to prepare. All right, let us learn simple remedies. And as we go back to the state of what man was in Eden, what did they eat? what was their meal preparation? All they had to do was pick the fruit and eat it. So God wants to bring us back to that simplicity where we are consuming more raw, less cooking, because cooking kills most of the nutrients in the foods that we are consuming. So we are consuming dead food that only giving us a belly full, but not much substance. All right, and eat only enough to satisfy hunger, as the council says. All right, and for the drinking aspect, have a water bottle. To encourage us to drink more water, we should have a water bottle, or more than one. I think there was a sister that said she had 3, and she would fill all 3, and she would drink them throughout the day. All right, you can get a water bottle, you can put design, whatever it takes to encourage you, put designs on it, write on it, Jesus wants me to drink more water. So every time you see it, you will be encouraged to drink more water. Right? And we should be drinking water. Well, you can drink your water like every hour throughout the day. It helps you to stay hydrated and ensure that you're intaking enough, except for the 2 hours after meal. So 2 hours after meal, the 1.5 to 2 hours after meal, you should not be drinking anything. Right? You can drink your water up to 15 minutes before meal. Brother, this.
In addition to drinking water, the container is very important where you drink from. You should not store water into a plastic and leave it in your car. That's a
or in the
no-no.
sun.
Or in the sun. If you take notice of when you're doing vegetables, the water
Leach.
Yeah. So the beneficial nutrients from the vegetable, it does the same thing with the plastic. That it sucks all the plastics, impurities in the plastic, all those metals and all of those things. When you drink that water, is it good for you? No, it will not be good for you. So the best container to store your water in is glass or stainless steel. Right.
All right, and so we have to move away from even this water that we are buying in the plastic bottles, because we do not know their method of purification, neither do we know how they are stored. Right? So we have to really move away from these things. Right? All right, so you can set an alarm to remind you to drink your water, because I know for many it is a challenge. All right? And work on it and develop a water drinking habit. Drink water first thing in the morning when you wake up. After each time you pee, drink 15 minutes before each meal, and the different times throughout the day that you can incorporate your water. So we want to, become more regular in our eating habits. It's not only about what we eat. Right? Because Sister White says there are many who think because they have stopped eating meat, they can now partake of the plant-based food without conscience. I'm paraphrasing, without conscience, meaning that we overeat. Right? So we have to exercise temperance in even in the things that are good for us. Moderation. All right? All right, so last week the question was asked about drinking juice. All right, so we're going to look a little bit on that. Drinking juice. I'm going to throw it out again. What are your thoughts on drinking juice? Well, all right, so we're not talking about doing a juice fast. We're not talking about juicing for healing, because that part was made clear, but persons were asking about drinking juice. So I'm asking, what are your thoughts on that? Should we just share your thoughts?
Well, I love juice. I, 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 knowing the council, I guess the right and proper way would be for us to, I think that would be a meal instead of drinking it like we traditionally used to drink it, where we drink juice after we eat our food or with our food or whatever. But that is how I drink it now. So like, if I make juice, so like during the midday part or stuff like that, I would try.
During the what?
The midday. Instead of having something to eat, I would drink the juice.
So you drink it in place of your meal?
Yes, being as I'm breastfeeding, yes, so I would like drink it like that. But I love my juice.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? What do you think about juice? Should we be having it? Is it okay? Does it have its place?
All right, the thing about juice is that what I believe is juices, as health reformers, we would normally make juice from fruits. Now, we know that the best way to consume fruits is just as is when it's peeled. But for others who want to prepare, consume the fruits in a juice form, if they want to consume it that way, they can, but it also depends. If you're going to juice your fruits without removing anything, I think that's fine. And you also have cases where you have persons who don't have teeth. And also, we are also counseled that eating by mastication in general is healthy for your teeth and your overall mouth health.
But when would you drink the juice?
When?
Yes, if you're going to drink the juice, when would you say that we should drink it?
Okay, we would drink the juice to consume.
No, man, when?
Oh, wait. No, man. What I'm saying, I would answer it this way. It depends on the meal. Because, as I said last week, it wouldn't make sense to eat a meal that has sugar in it and then you drink the juice that has more sugar in it. Right? So, if the meal doesn't have that particular nutrient and you have the juice that has the nutrient, then you would drink it after a certain period of time, after you eat or before you eat.
All right, we will look more into it. All right, go ahead.
For me, personally, I think, I learned that about fruits, there's a soluble fiber and then there's the insoluble fiber. And the insoluble fiber holds on to the sugar in the fruit. So when you're digesting it, in order to prevent that sugar spike in your bloodstream, the insoluble fiber will kind of hold it and let it gradually go into your bloodstream. So slowly. So that's why I prefer eating the fruits rather than juicing it. But if you're going to juice it and you don't separate any of the insoluble fiber, then that should be okay. It depends on the state of your gut as well. I guess it helps breaking it down.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's generally saying that it helps to break it down as well. But there's also this thing too where digestion begins in the mouth, digestion of sugars. So if you're going to consume sugar and you're just going to wash it down real fast, then that's going to kind of hinder your digestion as well. So It depends on the person. For me personally, I like eating the fruits.
Okay.
Okay. Traditionally, we grow up having juice with our everything. Juice with our breakfast. Juice. Well, away from tea. Have tea with our breakfast. Juice with our lunch. Juice with our dinners. I am not a juice person from a long time, but I will drink juice now and again, first time. But when I get to understand the importance of not eating and drinking, it changes a lot for me. I don't do. People might look make mango juice and then add sugar to it. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. So I will just eat my mango and drink my water. You understand? And soursop, just eat the pulp and drink my water. So I don't do juices anymore. I'll do my cereal drink. I'll do the cereal drink and I put a little bit of honey in it. But that's the most I go where juice is concerned. And if I'm making where a shake is concerned, with the oats and the different nuts, that is something total. It's just a one-off thing, no one again. And that would be a meal. I wouldn't eat anything when I drink that because it is filling. You understand? But really and truly, a lot of persons is a great weakness for us, for Jamaicans, to let go off juice.
All right. Thank you for all your inputs. Okay, quickly.
Yeah, some good pointers, but I have never heard anybody mention the state that you are in, because when you are a baby, you like milk, but when you become an adult, hard food. Hard food is best for adult, but if you are sick, the condition changes. Two things: you might not have an appetite, and the sickness you have. For example, cancer. You cannot cure cancer fast enough with solid food. You will need, for example, your body is consisted of generally liquid, or water then, liquid. So it's best to alkaline your body quickly it's with green juice. It helps, all right? If you're getting to, and that's juice, that's a part of your food. Your juice is a part of your medicine there. So it is also going to, so when you get back that strength, you can gradually go back to the hard food.
Right. We mentioned that we're not talking about that kind of juicing, but
still juice.
Yeah, man. Right. Quickly.
Well, this is a question for everybody still. So as it relates to eating and drinking and how we should separate the two, have a certain amount of time before you eat or after you eat. When we're eating fruits, don't we generally drink and eat at the same time?
Yes, but it's different. It's different. All the food is going down in a liquefied form. Well, that is if you chew properly. But it's different when you just drink. It bypasses the mingling of the saliva in the mouth, right? Other than when you're chewing the food itself. So it's not the liquid form that is going down, you know. It's the bypassing of the digestion that should begin in the mouth, and also mixing solid with liquid. Why persons drink while they're eating is to wash down the food, right? And Sister White says that it dilutes the digestive enzymes, right? So there's a big difference in it. The food has to go down in liquid form, but it would have started some form of digestion in the mouth, and the digestive enzymes would have now wrapped up with it. All right. All right, so we are going to move on. All right. So this is from the Review and Herald, July 29, 1884. It says, many make a mistake in drinking cold water with their meals. Taken with meals, water diminishes the flow of the salivary glands, and the colder the water, the greater the injury to the stomach. Ice water or ice lemonade drunk with meals will arrest digestion until the system has imparted sufficient warmth to the stomach to enable it to take up its work again. Hot drinks are debilitating, and besides, those who indulge in their use become slaves to the habit. Food should not be washed down. No drink is needed with meals. Eat slowly and allow the saliva to mingle with the food. The more liquid there is taken into the stomach with the meals, the more difficult it is for the food to digest, for the liquid must first be absorbed. Do not eat largely of salt, give up bottled pickles, keep fiery spiced food out of your stomach, eat fruits with your meals, and the irritation which calls for so much drink will cease to exist. But if anything is needed to quench thirst, pure water, drunk some little time before or after the meal, is all that nature requires. Never take coffee, tea, beer, wine, or any spirituous drink. Water is the best liquid possible to cleanse the tissues. But I just want you to focus on the point where she says, food should not be washed down. No drink is needed with the meal. So we should not be eating and drinking. Everybody get that, right? We should not be, every chew we chew, there's a gulp behind it. Right? All right, do not, so one of the, what she's saying is one of the reasons why persons see the need to be drinking while they're eating, she said, do not eat largely of salt, give up bottled pickles, this is the ketchup and the pickles and those kind of things. Keep fiery, spiced food out of the stomach. This is the pepper. Right? Eat fruits with your meals, and the irritation which calls for so much drink will cease to exist.
Question now. If you to keep fire food out of your meals, therefore, question. So the meals will go into the stomach. So the million-dollar question is, sorry to put it that way, what about cayenne pepper? It's fiery.
Yeah, but there's a difference between cayenne and
it's still fiery.
No man, it's still hot. But the effect on the body is different. I'm not saying person should be heating up their food with cayenne, you know, but I'm saying in the sense of what it does to the body. So we should not be using the cayenne to flavor our food. Let me put it at that. The cayenne is a medicine. Right? But when taken, it does not cause the irritation and the abuse to the stomach like what the hot pepper or the black pepper will do, because it's of a different nature. Though it is hot in flavor, in taste, it does not cause the said effect to the digestive system.
Well, all right. I like your explanation, but fiery food is just fiery food.
No, man, I know. So that's why I'm saying they should still not be using it to flavor their food to say that it's a healthier pepper in that sense, to still be consuming fiery food.
So therefore, I'm going to tell you what is happening in the medical missionary world within Adventism. Some medical missionary trained, they believe that cayenne should not be used at all. That is some teaching within the circle, and I know I understand where they get that with the fiery food, because if you auto identify, it did not say cayenne, or it did not say Scotch bonnet, it said fiery food. So
right.
It comes under the umbrella. No, some other medical missionary also said just as the explanation you give, that it's better on your stomach, it can be digested, it don't work as an irritant.
And it's not a stimulant.
It's
like
not
that
a stimulant or it irritates the stomach. All right, so that is what it caused. But
we should not. We should still not. Though it does not give the effect like the regular hot pepper, we should still not be using it to flavor our food. It is a medicine.
Exactly. All right.
Okay, Sister Kaydian. So what I'm understanding then, there's no place in our diet, I would call it, to have tea nor drink.
Tea?
Right. Like herbal teas or so, herbs.
No, we can't. Right.
I don't see no place
no,
for
man,
that.
The the herbs are for healing. So we drink the teas if we need some form of healing. Right? Sister White recommends warm water in the morning, and she says you can squeeze the lemon in it. She says she drinks red clover tea at times, so there are places for it. If you feel nauseous, or if out of the blue you feel for some tea, then it can be okay. But what we would have discussed previously is not to make it a habit of drinking tea, especially certain tea, because it may be having an adverse effect on you and you are not knowing that is the cause, because the herbs, they have properties that deals with different things, and at the same time you can be drinking a tea that makes you very sleepy and you don't know. That is why you can't stay up, right? Or you may be drinking a tea at a certain time when you want to sleep and it's making you hyper. Or you can be you get up every day, you're drinking hibiscus tea, and then you just black out because your pressure dropped too low, right? So there's a place for it, but we should not be drinking it habitually. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for clearing that up. But should we wait until we are sick to take the medicinal properties? Or should we try to prevent them? We want to be
right,
clear.
so that's why you study you study the properties of the things. So say, for instance, flu time, or you can do these things occasionally. That way you will be using it as a medicine. So if you are using those teas with the properties of preventing the flu, you're not doing it out of habit, but you're taking it as a preventative measure.
Even though you don't have the flu as yet?
So that's why I'm saying you take it as a preventative measure. So, it's flu time this time of year, so you can start building up your immune system from September, October, or whatever, or periodically you intake certain things to keep your system up. It's not habit where you get up every day and say, oh, I have to drink tea. I can't go work unless I drink some tea. Or I can't go sleep unless I drink some tea, and this is continuously throughout the year.
But for some people who have worked very hard in the day, they have to drink something warm for that calming effect.
They don't necessarily have to. If they have an issue of falling asleep or whatever the case may be, then you drink it to rectify. The teas are medicine. We don't take medicine every day. If we're taking the tea every day because I need they can take a warm bath. They can read something to get into that attitude of sleeping. So it doesn't have to come from a tea, because now you're becoming dependent upon the tea to put you to sleep. What happens when you can't get that herb? Or
is the statement true that your food should be your medicine and your medicine be your food?
Right, if we eat
explain that for me, please.
Meaning that if we eat the right things.
Because if your food is your medicine and you don't take medicine every day, explain to me, please.
Brother Garden. The laws of health are preventative measures and also maintenance and healing. So we eat the right food. If we eat the right type of food that God gives us, it will be our preventative medicine. Not medicine in that sense where it is something that you take when you're sick, but as a preventative measures. And when you're sick, it's the said laws of health that heal you. So. And when you look at it, when you're sick, you will have to utilize the laws of health in a different way, because you're supposed to be drinking enough water each day. But if you don't do that, then when you're sick, now you will have to be drinking more throughout a period. Say, for instance, you get dehydrated. Now you will have to be drinking more water than you should be drinking on a regular basis. You would have to be increasing your intake until your body is in a better state where you can then decrease it and go back to normal.
Okay, all right. Before I speak, I'm going to read Ezekiel 47, reading from verse 12 and 13. Ezekiel chapter 47, reading from verse 12 to 13. And it says this: "And by the river upon the bank thereof, upon this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaves shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issue out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine." Verse 13 says, "Thus saith the Lord God, this shall be the border whereby ye shall inherit the land according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 and 2 portions." So therefore, it is the same scenario also copied in Revelation. And we all know that as Adventists, abstain from everything that is bad for eating. But for the good things, we use it in moderation. So therefore, both parties are saying the correct thing. But what she's saying also, that you can build your immune system, but you don't use it every day. It serves as a immune, what you would call it, a booster then. I would start to use that word, booster each time, but you don't use the booster every day. Because you find that even in the medicine world, if you constantly use some painkiller, after a while your body gets immune to it, will not have any use to you anymore.
Right.
You need a stronger drug.
Right. On the bottle they tell you to use it for a period of
but
time.
But we're not promoting also when you're ill, you take the medicine. You need to rotate the foods that you eat. You don't eat star apple every day. You have a rotation of fruits and vegetables in your diet. But don't use the same fruits and vegetables in your diet, and that's why we need to plant our own things so that it is not expensive on us to provide such nutrition value to our bodies.
All right, thank you. Wrapping up, hot drinks are not required except as a medicine. The stomach is greatly injured by a large quantity of hot food and hot drink. Thus the throat and digestive organs, and through them the other organs of the body, are enfeebled. It is many years since I have had meat on my table at home. We never use tea or coffee. Occasionally I have used red clover blossom tea for a warm drink, but few of my family drink any fluid at our meals. The table is provided with cream instead of butter. Even though we have company present, I have not used butter for many years. The pure juice of the grape, free from fermentation, is a wholesome drink, but many of the alcoholic drinks which are now so largely consumed contain death-dealing portions. Make fruit the article of diet to be placed on your table, which shall constitute the bill of fare. The juices of fruit mingled with bread will be highly enjoyed. Good, ripe, undecayed fruit is a thing we should thank the Lord for because it is beneficial to health. I have recently left off the use of all liquids, such as homemade coffee, with my meals. And this coffee is not the coffee that we know with the caffeine. It's a combination. It's It's a mix that they used to put together. All right, with my meals. I eat my food as dry as possible. The result is excellent. In the morning, I take lemon and water. I drink nothing between meals unless it be occasionally some lemon and water. All right, we will have to pause today for now. We will have to pause here for today. Until next week, we will finish. We will wrap up on this juice topic. All right. Let us pray to close. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the time that we got to spend in learning about the way that we should be doing things. I pray that you will inspire our hearts to read and to study on our own so that we can be edified and so that we can share with others about the proper way of doing what you have called us to do. In Jesus' wonderful name I pray. Amen.